Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we've got this on the table. It's a 1988 Honda cg125. Bulletproof engines on these, absolutely fantastic little machine. As you can see, it's had a few tasteful, well, what I think is tasteful, modifications. We've got a high-rise mudguard, a bit more clearance. So we've got 100mm tyres on the back, 4-inch and 3.5-inch wide on the front, both knobblies, still road legal. We've jacked the suspension up just slightly with these shockers, but we still need to go further, I think. And if we do go further on that, we've got the problem of maybe the chain, when it's at full travel, rubbing on the swing arm. So we might have to put one of them nylon or rubber covers that go over the chain, over the rear swing arm just there. So underneath here, obviously, there's chain. We're going to leave the chain guard on, probably paint that. We're going to change the sprocket as well on the front so that we get a little bit better acceleration, because now we've got these big profile knobblies on, it's actually geared it different, so it's a bit worse on setting off. And it always has been, to be honest. This bike, I've had this for many years. This was my first learner bike, first bike on the road as such. And it's been my kids ever since. So my firstborn used it, second and third, they've all had a go on it. And now the last one in the clan is gonna use this. He's gonna pass his CBT at the weekend, and he's going to use this on the road. So we're going to get it ready for him, get it MOT'd, and like I say, we need to change this gear ratio down, because it's a little, you can feel it's a little bit harder to set off. Nothing fantastic, it still does set off, but what we don't want to do is it only be doing about 40 mile an hour top end. We're wanting to be able to keep up with traffic. So yeah, as we go round, exhaust has developed a hole here somewhere. I don't know where, but it's obviously it's rotted through. We're either going to have a look to repair it, put a plate on, or buy a new exhaust. Really didn't want to get a new exhaust because this silence has got a really nice sound to it. Sounds really old school, like old school Triumph popping noise coming out of it. If you can sound like a Triumph if you're an old Honda, but that's all in my head probably. What else can I say about it? Kickstart probably needs a little tighten up. Like I say, it's been used off-road a little bit, this. And we started about a year back, maybe more than that, turning it into what looks like an old school enduro, old school scrambler, which I think we're not. Let me back up a bit so you can see it better from the side view. I think we've achieved something. As you can see, we swapped the handlebars out, we put a set of Pro Taper on, and we might actually put a single little clock in the middle, chrome clock. I've got a bigger headlight for it, big chrome headlight, but again, maybe not. My lad said maybe we put a number board on the front and then have a little headlight at the side of the number board, which I've seen some like trials bikes and stuff have that. We've changed the grips. We've got some Rentals on there, waffle grips. What else we've done to it just to turn it a little bit more off-roadery? Oh yeah, the mudguard wouldn't fit properly unless we had this little plate turned upside down. So at least if we're upside down, we can still read the Honda badge. Couple of feathers, I've no idea what they're for, but we need to do the brakes. So I've ordered a load of parts for this bike. We're going to get a new set of brake pads in it. We're going to do a new cable, because I think it is squeaking and moving about a bit. I don't know if you can hear this, but something's squidging in the brake area there. So I'll have to have a look at that. We did have a little leak on the carburetor, like the floats were sticking, but seems to have cured itself after a good run. But we'll probably clean the carb out, make sure that's all correct. We'll check the chain, see if that's okay. What else can I say about it? Not much. Air filter, we might change the air filter. I've ordered a new battery because we've come back to it twice now and the battery's gone flat, so I presume it's just an old battery. It's been on for, I would say, 5 years. So it probably needs a new one, so I bought one of them, and they're not much money. Got one of them motorback ones, which is around £20. So, you know, you don't quibble at that sort of money. This bike, when it was running fine, even with me on it, which I weigh quite a lot, it was still nearly topping 65 mile an hour flat out with me on it. So it's not far off 70. It's all right. I'm going to get on with this exhaust. Okay, it's off, and all the horrible itchy stuff is off as well. All this exhaust wrap chucked over there. On the face of it, it don't look too bad, does it? Until you get it turned over, and if the camera can pick it up, we've got a great big hole there, and a couple of small ones there. As we go down, we've got one there. As we go down again, we've got a little pinhole there as well. I don't know. It's probably not worth messing about with. And just buy a new one for 60 quid, to be honest. But we'll see. I'm going to have a little go. And if it's going to take so much time, I'll call it a bad job. But if you look there as well, looks like these exhausts are made in 2 sections, as in an inner and an outer, because it's really thick there. I'm going to put my finger in there. Really, really thick. So it looks like there's an inside section with a bend that goes somewhere up to there, and then this part slots over the top, and then it's welded here originally, because there's a little tack there, so that must have been where it got tacked in before it got fully welded, and then they've ground it off and then plated it, had it chrome plated. So yeah, but this is an original 1988 exhaust with all the Honda badges on it. And like I say, it's got a really nice sound to it, but you know, how much work is going to be in this? See, all I'm going to do probably is get a piece of plate. I'm not going to cut it all back and start welding sections back in. I'll just put a piece of plate straight over the top of that up to where this hole is, and as long as I can get these collars on there, and then that pushes onto it. So that goes like that. These collars go there, and then that push, when you tighten it up, it pushes on this lip and then to a crush washer gasket on there and seals it, and that's how it works. And then the other side obviously goes on the other side of it there. So yeah, all I've got to have is so that this can slide back a touch. As you can see, there's a big gap, but when that's on, and there you see we can't be any. We're probably a bit close actually, it might be a bit blurred on this camera. There, and then that pushes up against it. But like I said, we need enough gap to get that on. Just a minute, using two hands, there we go. So yeah, with that gaping hole there, let's have a look. So that way. What I might have to do there is I'll clean it up with a wire wheel, clean all this outside off, and then I'll start bridging it across with the welder, see if there's some meat left on there, and then once I get to about there, I can either put a plate on, because all this is going to be wrapped in the heat wrap, similar to that, but it's going to be black. So nobody will ever see it, and it's only for us anyway. It's not going to be any showing in this. It's just going to be his first bite to give it a good thrashing about. Well, you know what I mean, not thrashing about, hopefully. Maybe a bit of green lane in with them sort of tyres on. So yeah, I'm going to get this cleaned up, wire wheel it, grind it off, see how much meat's left on it, and we'll go from there. If it's going to take too long, I'll give it up as a bad job and just buy a new one. But I don't want to, one of these aftermarket ones, I bet they sound like a bean tin on it. So, okay, back to that. Right, the welding is done. So, here, where the hole was, I bridged it across, and then there was a little hole inside there, so that's all done. I put a little cap on the end of this one, so that the fumes don't go down that way and out of this end, and so I welded that and welded that. That didn't take long. And then we get to this bit. As you can see, I'm just trying to use one hand, spinning it round. There, the hole has now disappeared. And I ground it and ground it and ground it, and we had nearly give up at one point actually. So we had, it would just get eating away, going back further until I thought we were just going to have to throw it away, to be honest. And then all that section is new, so I cut some strips just out of a bit of old tin, just some strips like that, put one in there and one in there, welded, and then welded across. Only with a tiny little gasless welder, because I didn't think I were going to be doing much, so I've only got like a little 100 amp to use at the moment. Where else? Anyway, it just went on and on and on. But we seem to have it now, and like I say, once we get the wrap on it, it'll be fine. And then down here, I can't remember where the other dot was. We've done a few more since then. There were another lump somewhere around there. Anyway, they're done. So hopefully the exhaust is sealed. And I know it's no showing, like I said before, but when you put it to that side, which is what everyone's going to see, I can't see anybody laying under the bike just to see if I've got a few rust spots on my exhaust. And the outside looks pretty presentable. I'll tell you what we did have. We had a bit just here as well that had worn through. It looked like a scuff, to be honest. Like something had been grinding on it. Probably too many wheelies. Not. Anyway, there we go. I'm going to go to fit it. In fact, I've got to go down the middle where we've got a bit of blowout inside there. I don't know if you can quite see, but there's a bit of weld that's come through there. So we want this as smooth as we can get it on the inside for exhaust gases to get out. So I'm just going to use a die grinder, and I'm just going to grind that in, take them lumps of weld off, and then we'll be sorted. I'll fit it, test it, and then we'll wrap it. So that's the next job. Right, we've got the exhaust back on now, and as you can see, we've got it wrapped in the heat wrap, nice black colour, and holding that on at the bottom is a couple of little Jubilee clips. We don't really have to have anything holding it at the top because we wrap over itself and then continue around. I didn't film that because it's a horrible, itchy, awful job. If you've ever used it before, you know what I'm on about. But what I do with this stuff, which is there, cut about, would you believe, there is approximately 4 meters worth. And what I do is lay it all out, spray it down with some water so it stops all the little fibres from getting airborne, and put a set of gloves on as well when you're doing it, and then wrap it all around really the best you can, and that's the end product that we'll come to see. Don't think it looks too bad, quite period for this type of bike, and stops you burning your legs. And the rest of the exhaust there has just been left exposed. A nice bit of chrome there. So these are the other bits that we've got for the bike, just to bring it up to MOT spec. We've got another cable. We might not use that yet, but we're going to try just changing the pads, seeing if we get a bit more bite on the brake itself, the front brake, because they're only drums. They're never going to be fantastic, but they are what they are, as long as it passes its MOT. We've also now got the sprockets. We've got a 13 and a 12. We're going to try the 13 first, see if we get a little bit more acceleration, and we've got a brand new battery. You can see Motorbat one. So it's had one of them on before, but I think I said earlier it's about 5 years old and it wasn't really holding any charge. So chuck a new one on. I think that was 20 quid. We got cable was about £8 to £10. I think the sprockets were about £6 a piece, maybe 7 with a bit of postage on it. The EBC brakes, what we found, were new old stock, because for some reason they jumped up to about £20, and we got these for, I think, half that, about £10. We've got the seals for the exhaust as well, the gaskets, got a full pack of them. I think there's 10 in a pack. I think they were around £10–11. I think the heat wrap, not a lot of money, £8 to £10 again there as well, straight off the internet. So we haven't used up one of these, as you can see. That's not been opened because we put it back on, squidged it up, and it seemed to hold. So no need to open the pack. If it starts to leak, then obviously we will put one of them on. So if we go around to this side, so what we're going to take off is the spindle. We're going to take the brake lever off. We're going to take the speedo cable off, held on with a little, I think it's Phillips, is it? Phillips screw there. And then cut these little cable ties off that go up there, if we're going to replace the cable. But I think what we're going to do first is just do the pads, clean up the drum, put some brand new pads on and the springs on, and then we'll see if this cable is still good enough. Not too sure yet, but we have got a brand new one, as you can see. We've just tied it down at the back with this ratchet strap. It's sat on the middle stand, so that we've got now the wheel we can wobble about and pull the spindle out. So I'm going to get on with that next. So just taking the adjuster off. And just keep going with it right to the end. There we go. There we go. And just pull this little rubber back, it exposes the cable, and then that little slot there, just drag it straight out of that. So that's loose. This, just taking the screw out which holds it through a little cutout there. So on the inside of that has got a little slot in it, and that's a speedo which fits, marries up to a little slot in there. So when you're fitting it back, try and make sure you get it in the right orientation so that slots in. You'll feel it just pop in like that, you see, when you go to refit it. So them two are out of the way. We've got the arm out of the way now. The spindle's loose. This side was a 19mm. The other side is 14mm. You should just need to give it a little tweak, and there we go, it breaks itself loose. Not really undoing it on this side, just broke the seal as such, because sometimes they get a bit stuck. Sometimes you can't get that off like what I did, you've got to put that on the other side. This on this side. Just putting this back on so we don't damage the thread, because we're going to give it a little tap to get it through. There we go. That's it. Don't want to hit them too hard. Keep everything safe. This little collar guide that goes through there as well. Keep all these safe. So now we've got the spindle loose. And just keep withdrawing it from the other side. There we go. That's it. Wheels drop down. Now we just need to get everything out of the way. Move it forward a bit. I'll show you this. So yeah, there's your drum inside. If we're still in shot, just a minute. Yep, still in shot. Feeling around there for anything that's untoward, lumps and bumps. Feels pretty smooth, to be honest. Nothing there, nothing leaking out of here onto it to make it slip. So we'll get rid of that. Get that out of the way. So this is what we're left with. A couple of shoes, a couple of springs, and inside there is a speedo drive and a little seal to stop any of the grease from being thrown at the shoes. But on here to here is the only part that's been touching. I would have thought they'd got a bit more space on there that would actually touch, but on there, I don't know if you can see a dull patch that's not been touching, and then you can see a shiny part from there to there. But we're going to put a set of EBCs on, which, oops, knocking the camera about, which looks like they are a sintered type, like bits of metal in them. They feel a lot rougher than these ones. So right, we're going to have a go at getting this off. And that's how they work. I'll just show you. When that gets pulled, I'm in shot, there we go. They open up. So that's the brake arm there. So yeah, we've just got to get that off of there now. brute force and ignorance. There we go. And that's it. Comes straight off. And get these little springs off, because we're going to reuse them again, because for some reason it didn't come in the pack with a new set of springs. So let's get a little screwdriver on them. There we go. 1, 2. And then we've got a flat part and a round part, and obviously that's the way they go. Flat and round. Easy peasy. Come on. There we go. Just get them 2 springs in, and then get rid of them. Match them up, flat to flat, round to round. Ta-da! That's it. All back together again. Probably doing that out of shot again, am I? So hopefully these ones match a little bit better, because I would have thought, looking at these, they look more of a budget set, to be honest, with the type of friction material that's on them. So right, we're going to go to fit it together again. So I've sprayed it off with a little bit of panel wipe, come brake cleaner, clutch cleaner, whatever you get in them little tins, just quick squirt around, get rid of any contaminants off it, any oil that's gone into it. And now I'm just going to get a little bit of sandpaper, nothing too coarse, I think it's about 600 grit, and just give it a little wipe round. If anything's got stuck on there, right, nice and smooth. And obviously if it's overheated or anything, it might have got a bit of glazing to it off the pads, and we're trying to just get that off, get anything that's on, we need it cleaned off. Don't need a lot, this hasn't had a lot of use, to be fair, since it's had them pads in, but sorry, pads, shoes I mean, not shoes. Shoes, not pads. Get my head right. I've been working on cars last week, so right, I'm just going to put some degreaser on, a bit more panel wipe. We're just trying to get it as clean as we can. Yeah, you can see every time we go around it, We get a bit more muck off. I think that'll do. Going over top on a little cg125, I think, and it hasn't got brakes anyway when it were new. Right, all shoes are in, and now we've just got to orientate it so that we get this little cross here in line with the speedo. You can pick it up that way or that way. So let's have a look how we're going to fit this. So that'll go like so. That's the way it came out. So if we just had a look, have a look at where, see a little peg on the inside of this fork slots in there, and then we want to flip it over and turn it so that we've got it at 90 degrees. There's also inside here a little shim that fits on there, so bear with me. I think I might put a dab of grease on that just so it don't fall off on me where the grease is. So that's now stuck to it, and we just need that, so we'll go for there. I think we've got it there. Oh, there we go. And I can see that this little peg inside here, it's like the end of a screwdriver. I can see it spinning when I turn it. So that means that's locked into them two grooves now. Right, now we're going to fit this spindle. Just start it off on the other side a bit, just so it's just in line to be poked through. And then this has to slot into that little groove there. So this is where you need 3 arms and somebody to help you, but we'll have a go. Right, so I need to slot that in there. And put it up. So we've got it started. It's not easy. There we go. We're through. Put the nuts on this end. And like I said, a 19 on this side and a 14 on the other. So I'm just going to try and orientate this here so it slots in. There we go. Popped in. So just keep some gentle pressure on that and go backwards and forwards until all of a sudden it slots in. You feel it pop in. Then this can go back in, which is the securing screw, so that stops it from jumping out. So these will need a bit of bedding in. Just to form their own groove inside. So again, pull that back. Sorry, telling you wrong. Pull that back. There. Put that in. And then put that in. On there's a flat spot as well, so that if this is a bit stiff, when you're trying to tighten this end up on this thread, then you can lock it off with a pair of mole grips or something like that. It'd be fine. Or something like, I don't know what size it is. It's smaller than a, that's an 8, so it's smaller than an 8, so it's probably about 6, something like that. To put on there, but I mean there's no great stress on any of these, so a pair of pliers and a socket on the end of this, but I mean I'm just doing it by hand, because once the spring loads back on that nut, and it's got a little cut out for the same shape of this as this peg that was in, it's not going to be going anywhere, this. So yeah, that's a little bit too much on the brake, that, so we'll back it off a bit. A couple of times out. There we go, the spin's nice. Just do it one more. Yeah, I can feel that's just dragging a touch. I think what I'll do is back it off one. There. That's okay, just check the brake. That's pretty good, that, actually. So these EBC brakes must be, the shoes must be a lot better fit. I didn't actually check them against the other ones, but the other one didn't feel like that. It still feels a little bit spongy. You can still pull the cable in a little bit more than but yeah, it's okay, that. So yeah, what you do is, just as you feel it catching, you'd back it off one. Just a little scuff is good enough, because it'll take that off on its first time round. So I think that's okay. What we'll do with that is we'll just test it, and then I'll probably change the cable and test that and see if there's any real difference on how firm we get this front brake. But I think that's fine, to be honest. Might just save that cable. Right, next job. I think we shall, what shall I do next? think I'll change the front sprocket and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so under here is the front sprocket, which we're going to change to a 13 tooth so that we hopefully get a little bit better set off acceleration, which is what we need with these big knobblies on. And under there's also the stator. We don't need to remove the foot peg, but we do need to remove the gear change mechanism. Now what I've done on here is I've just drawn with a black marker a line straight through it so that we know the orientation. We don't get the lever too far down or too far up when we come back to rig it all back up again. And this is on a 10mm bolt that locks it together. So there's a little cutout. Don't know if you can see it, and I'll see it when we take it off, but there's a little slit down the bottom there, and this is on a spline. So we need to take this off. So that comes out. Then give the gear lever a little wiggle. Sometimes you might have to get a screwdriver just to open it up a bit, but this is coming off nice. There we go. So take that one off. And then all these are 8mm. So I only need a quarter drive to take these off. None of them are very tight. They don't really need to be too tight. It's not holding much in. There's no oil it's holding in or anything. And I think they're all the same length. I'm nearly sure they are. But if you're ever worried about if they're the different lengths, draw it out on a piece of cardboard. So draw that out as a piece of cardboard, and then as you take them out, pop in the studs in the cardboard, you know, poke a little hole in it, and then you'll know if there's one of these that's longer, you'll know where the longer one goes. So yeah, but I think all these, like I say, are all the same length, so it doesn't matter where we put them. Yours may be different, could be a different model, but this is a Brazil model apparently. There we go. And then, as you can see, that's why we needed to remove the gear lever. So we are a bit dirty inside there. So yeah, there's all the electricity. It goes off in there. There's the neutral switch. There's a bit of fur up in there. We'll give it a blowout and stuff before we fit it all back together. Had a bit of sealer on as well at one point. So anyway, this is what we're changing, the front sprocket. And just get the other one. A funny feeling. Trying to get in the bag, it's stuck together again with oil and grease or whatever they put on it. There we go. So I have a funny feeling we have to pick up these two, which are further in. So we might have to die grind the retainer just so that we can come further in. I don't know yet, we'll have to see, but this is awfully close to the original, to the chain. Look at that, we've got the split pin right there as well. So we need to take a bit of slack off this. So to do that, we're going to have to slacken this off, and we'll give a little slack off here, which sends this spindle forwards a bit, and then that'll give us enough room to maneuver the chain back in there. And same on this side. So slack it off, and in fact, looking at that, looks like there's a washer missing off of there. It's got a nylock on it and a washer missing off the back of it. And this one has got 2 washers on it. So maybe that one was made for that side. Right, the locking tab on the front sprocket has got 10mm bolts in it. So what we're going to do is, I'll show you on this side actually. We're going to leave everything attached, not take anything off, and I'll just put a piece of wood in between the foot peg and the brake. And it's because I can't get to this side to lock the rear wheel up, so just a little trick to lock off the rear wheel, because we need to stop this sprocket from spinning. Let me set it back up here again. So I can reach through now and press the brake, and I can also try and undo the 10mm bolts. So I'm pressing down now. There we go, there's one, and there we go, both of them. Well, there you go, a little trick. But you're always better to have somebody else helping you as well on something like this. So we'll get rid of them. There we go. So that works by, as it goes on, there's a little groove on this spline here. You put it on, so you put it on there, like so, and then you turn it, and then it locks behind into a groove, and then you put these 2 bolts in, and then that can't come off. So that's how that works. So next thing we're going to do now is undo the rear spindle and get some slack off this chain. So this side is a 17, and the other side with the nut on is a 22. So we'll get this moving if we can. There's a hell of a lot of pressure on this. We may need to get a bar on it. Oof, yes, right. Next step, long bar. Right, I'm back with a longer bar. Let's see if this works. There we go. So just a bit of slack in that. We want a deep socket of 10mm on the back, and get a small extension. And slack this off. Same on this side. In fact, what I'm going to do on this side is I am going to remove it completely, because it didn't have that washer on, what we said, and it really needed one on. Stop, because when you tighten a bolt straight up, sorry, a nut straight up onto something, it starts gouging pieces out of the frame and what have you, so it's bad practice really. That wants a washer behind it. I'll leave that there off. And there's this one. What's this one got on? This one has got a washer and spring washer on. The other side's got a nylock on it and no washer. So now we've got a bit of movement. on both sides, and when we push this in now, there we go, the axle can move. Is that getting that on camera? Yes, it is. So now we've got a bit of slack here, which we should be able to take the sprocket off actually with that. So I don't think we'll need to do this split pin. I mean, we will do eventually, because I'm going to take it off and I'm going to clean it, and we'll see what state the chain's in. But just for now, because we're doing a bit of testing, take this off, this sprocket. There we go, which was a 14, and we're dropping to a 13. Hopefully it's all fits. Say hopefully. We may need a tapping stick to get this one on. Oh, no we haven't. There we go, straight on. Straight on. Not really. Now then, can we still put this on? Am I in the way? My big head in the way? I don't think we can get this on and then turn it. No. So we're going to have to grind this down there, and we'll probably have to open up the bottom here of it. I'll get a die grinder on it so it brings it in a bit closer. So we might end up with no meat on the outside of this retainer. So I'll take it back off again, because we need to know where we're going with it. It actually fits there, but the chain is so tight to it, so I'm going to take a bit of this off here. Right, we've die grinded it back, ground them corners off a little touch. It would have been better with an Allen key bolt rather than a 10mm head, but we do fit. Probably off camera there. There we go. So I've gone for the smaller of the two this time, not the outer two, and made that to suit. So we'll go for a fitment and see if it's see if it'll fit. Right. I can see it's trying to touch the chain, the outer edge of it. So I'm going to have to be a bit more brutal with the outer edge. I might have to actually get rid of it. Right, okay, we're going to grind that off. Right, so I've taken a little bit more off. Still plenty of meat left on. I'm just going to get these retaining bolts back in, and then we'll go for a spin around and see if it's touching anything. They're nice and tight, and it's passing. Happy enough with that. The sprocket's on. So then we'll go for a tighten up on the chain. First of all, just nip it up a touch, just so there's a bit of friction on it. But not enough to stop it from moving. As we're looking at that, we've got some lines on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 lines. So, and then there's a little cutout on this adjuster. So that is 1, 2, 3, and nearly a half. I think we'll go for 3.5 on that side. Need to get a washer. And that one is about 3.5. Flick this bung out. There's your chain tensioning point there. So you want about 1 inch of slack thereabouts. So we want to be going about. It's not too bad actually. That not too bad. So we've got 1, 2, 3.5, and this one's a bit more awkward to see, but just move that. 1, 2, 3.5 thereabouts. So what I'm going to do now, I'll nip it up. A bit of pressure on with this one. There we go. Finish tightening them up. Just nip them up a touch now, because they're not going to move now. We'll put that much force on the spindle and they're not going nowhere. Got about 1 inch travel on that. Put the bung back in so we don't lose that. And we're going to go for a test ride, I think, in a minute. So that seems to be running pretty free. It's not catching anything. Where's the front? There we go. So I'll go put the front back on. Then we can go for a nip up. Again, not too much. It's only a cover. And now, because we've put the marks in, like I said earlier, we know exactly where this lever should go. There we go, and it's all lining up. There's so many of these that get stripped threads and stuff because just going a bit too mad. I mean, that's enough. Easy. Done. Right, we're going to get it off the table. We're going to see if we've got a little bit better acceleration. And I think that's all I can do, because this one is just tiny. I think it's going to just put too much stress on the chain, trying to get around that. Yeah, that's a 12. Right, I'm going to get it off the table. Right, we're back. It's the day after. We've done a good test run of it, and the acceleration is 10 times better. But, on the other hand, we might be revving out at top end, but I haven't done a top speed run yet on it. We'll figure that out. It still might be a case of that we go back to the 14 front sprocket, but then change the rear sprocket and go up a couple of teeths, or I don't know, maybe 5 teeth more on the back. We'll see anyway, because if it gets to around 60 miles an hour and it's not absolutely thrashing its nuts off, then we'll be fine. It's only going to be a tootling bike around, you know what I mean, tootle up and down on it. It's exhaust is done, that's all sealed now, and we've wrapped it. That seems to be absolutely fine. We will take this chain guard off, clean the whole chain before it goes in for the MOT, re-oil it up, because there'll be all gunge and muck and everything inside here, and we'll just give it a general clean up. But at the moment, what we're going to do now is we're going to change the oil. We're going to just drop the oil out here. You take this big nut off the side of the, let me show you there, you can see it. Take that off, and it's a 24, I believe. Yep, 24. We'll take that off, drop the oil out, put a bit more back in, and some fresh 10W40. I've got plenty of that. What's the next job? And then we'll change the battery, and we're going to then check to see if we've got a good charge from the stator. I'm sure we have. We had before, can't see why we haven't now. And apart from that and a good clean-up, I think we're going to be ready to go for MOT. I always need an ice cream tub when you're doing an oil change. Oop, I'm going on there now. Or an ice cream tub in the right place. Right, I'll just take the dipstick out, and that's not me. That's a little plastic thing on this side. I don't think they hold much at all, these. Inside here is, if I can remember rightly, a little spring. I say they don't hold much. This tub's filling up quick. Oh, there we go, that's that. And then inside there should be a little filter. That's probably why it's not all come rushing out all at once. There we go. Oh dear, she is a bit black. Not, if you can see that, not really bad. It's a bit black. So I'll leave that to drain a bit. I'll come back to that in a minute. So I've left that to drain a little while, and that's where you take the big bung out. And what you, like I said before, you're left with the spring and the little gauze filter there. State of the oil, it looks pretty black, but it isn't really. It's just got a touch of black in it. It's still quite see-through, but it did need a change, and it absolutely stinks of petrol as well, because I think we've been probably kick-starting it when we've flooded it a lot, because it's been a learner bike, this, so you know, it's been used a bit off-road and all sorts. So anyway, if you're doing an oil change, a quick oil change, this is the way to do it. Well, you can follow me or not, either way. But get the bike warmed up, oil's nice and hot, then undo the plug, catchment, something underneath, like this, tin, tub, ice cream tub, whatever. Pull that out, and you're left with this gauze and spring. Yeah, and just drop the oil out. It does have, on the opposite side of this, a centrifugal flinger, which I think it's behind, if I can remember rightly, the clutch, or to the side of the clutch. So let's just go around there a minute. So I'm not sure actually, it's either there or there behind this, but I think you've got to remove the clutch, and then behind it is a little like cap. You take that off, and it's a flinger. It flings the oil around, and then it collects sludge all on the outside, and you scrape all that out, put it back in, put the clutch back on. But it's a bit more in depth than probably the general DIY mechanic's not really going to know it's even there, to be fair, or even do it. So for a quick oil change, you know, that I probably only wants doing every couple of years, I'd say, that other side. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to spray a bit of WD or some of this equivalent, which is GT85, same sort of stuff, just a thin oil. I'm going to spray it on that and get this set up again, this camera. That'll do, I think. Should be wearing gloves, but I'm not. Like I say, copy me or don't, it's up to you. If you blow your bike up, it's your fault, not mine. That's it, blast it from both sides. Clean enough, that. Dab it off and get a little cloth instead. Absorb a bit better. And there you can see, all nice and clean. So that can go back in. So the rubber goes in first, and the gauze facing outwards. And got the spring, do the same on that. Which presses against that gauze. I'll clean all this out. There we go, nice and clean. Get rid of that. Get the, yeah, make sure you don't cross thread this as well, because you fight against the spring. Yeah, difficult to actually get started. There we go, we're started. And again, just a little nip up, not a lot, it's only got a rubber O-ring behind it, so we don't need to be mad on tightening it up. If you see a little drip, then just give it a tweak up, and that'll do. It's tight enough, that. Yeah, let me just get rid of this mess into something else, another tub, and then what we'll do is we'll see, because I've allowed it to settle now, this oil, and we'll see what, if there's any sediment in the bottom of it. You can get it in one go and actually see how much oil we've got left. That's it. So yeah, if you want to ever see if there's any bits in your oil or anything, just get another container, tip it out. That tells us how much is left in it, and then a good look at the bottom now to see if there's any bits in it, and there's nothing. There's nothing in there whatsoever. There's no sparkly shiny bits or anything, which is a sign of that you, well, gears or something in there is destroying itself. So yeah, all good. So we'll go to fill it up. So this is where you fill it up. We've already taken the dipstick out, and it's got a little rubber seal on there. Sometimes when you take it out, it's left there, and but don't lose that. Obviously, you need to keep that, and then it tells you on the end of the dipstick there where to be filling it up to. So as long as we're in this area here, so we're going to fill it up to the top there, top line. Let's get this set up, and all we're using, what does that mean? Using is some of this. Not very dear, straight off the old eBay or internet, and get you sent a bit of that or anything equivalent. These things are not fussy, so we want to be putting in, because we're taking out half a litre, so we'll try putting half a litre in now. What we at here? We are at now, we're at 1.5. Are we in there? Anyway, we'll just try, see if we can get it all over. Sounds like somebody's back. Right, that noise in the background was my lad, just come back from MOT, giving me a pip on his own. And yeah, he's just passed, so he's on the road now. Got his other little motorbike ready. So here we are with this, and let's check in. See where it is on the stick, and the camera picks it up. We're right up to this top mark. So that's it. That's enough oil. Make sure I don't cross thread it. There we go. Last thing to do is we're just going to fit the new battery, and we'll have to go around the opposite side for that. So this is the battery what we've got, a motor bat. Comes pre-charged, it says, so we don't have to mess about with anything. It's one of these ones with two funny little wires on. It goes inside there. So first of all, we need to take the seat off, and there's one clip here and one on the other side which just pulls backwards, and that's a little security tang which you can either use that to keep the seat down so no one can lift it up, and you press it across. It's open on this one at the moment, key goes in there, or you can use it to lock your helmet. There's a helmet holder for that as well, but that's undone. So these two little clips pull backwards, and then we pull it up, and that comes off. And then for taking this off, it's got a little slot at the bottom which perfectly fits your key in, or a screwdriver, and you just turn it to the side, pop this one out, pull that, and then slide that one across. Right, so, and underneath here is your battery and your relay for your indicators, and then there's a fuse and another fuse there. So we need on that, looks like about 10mm to get the battery out. So just pop these connectors off, nice and easy. And then this slides out. So that's in a little box. Let's wiggle that out. Put the new one in. And on top of here there's a little rubber as well, so you're going to make sure that doesn't drop out. On top. Yeah, it's still there. I think it's still there. That's it. It's gone in. Make sure they're over top. It's tight. A little tang on the back of this is snapped off as well, so what we might have to do is just put a tie wrap around there just to hold it in position. Where's the cables gone? There's one. We'll connect that. There's the other one. Just get a tie wrap for this. There we go. As simple as that. It's all back together again. Just pull that one out for a second. It's easier to put in. And line everything up. There we go, click back together. All the cables are back inside. Seats back on, simple as that. So that's a battery change on a Honda CG Brazil model. Now we're going to have a little test run of it, and I think that's about all we need to do, apart from the cleanup and a bit of cleaning of the chain. Done the brakes, the cables seem okay, exhaust done, back brakes fine. Selects gears, it's had a little oil change. Yeah, everything's working on it with a new battery. Only thing I'll check later on is the stator, just to see if the battery is taking some of the charge from the stator. That's easy enough, just drop 2 wires back on the battery and check to see if it's charging. Apart from that, I think we're done. Time for a test ride. So that's the Honda CG finished. It's just been in for its MOT, passed with flying colours, done its little test ride, and it's absolutely fantastic. So,
I hope you like what you've seen. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.